I've been rather indisciplined recently and I've decided I need to change that. So, ever since I got back from Hyderabad, I've been kinda slipping. I did just finish a 3 month sprint and I felt it was finally time to rest, but I think I might have taken it too far. And of course, all of the traveling definitely didn't help the entire situation. My life's basically been in a constant state of chaos, and while it's exciting to kind of live through that particular state, it's not really sustainable in the long term, especially when I'm trying to achieve certain really lofty goals. Obviously, the question will arise as to how on earth am I so self aware? How did I realize all of this? Well, the truth is, I've always been remarkably self aware of whatever's been happening in my life, and that's just been heightened by my practice of journaling. While going through the journal, I kind of noticed that I was at peak productivity at somewhere around the beginning of 2022, and it gradually started dipping as we went through the year. I was kind of able to maintain that entire level of productivity even while I was in Hyderabad. Even though I was doing other things, getting to clients and helping out with the entire situation over there, I was still able to work and further my goals at the same time. However, ever since I got back to Mysore, I've been kind of finding it difficult to get anything of value done. I barely have time for art, and my music practice is almost non-existent. Obviously, when I noticed that life wasn't going the way I wanted it, I sat down and asked myself a really important question, and this is something that you should definitely do by yourself as well. What I did was I sat down and I wrote down this question: what exactly is going wrong in my life and how can I fix it? It's remarkable how the most sophisticated problem solving technique I've got is sitting down with a pen and my journal and just writing down line after line, but it really works. I sat down and I ended up with an entire full page of problems as well as solutions to fix those particular problems. My sleep schedule's way off. I sleep later, I wake up later. At a particular time, I used to wake up at like 4:15, 4:30. I struggle to wake up at 6 o'clock most of these days. I've become incredibly inconsistent with my workouts. My martial arts practice is basically stopped, it's practically non existent. I barely am able to get to practice these days. The initial idea was to work out twice a day, but yeah, that's the scene. Additionally, I have no routine. I'm not really making any progress on any of my goals. I've picked up this really bad habit of using tech. As soon as I wake up, I reach for my phone or my tablet and I just start reading. I go onto Instagram, I use social media, YouTube, and a little bit of manga and manhwa as well. I've also become primarily focused on consumption of media. I read a lot of non-fiction. I read a lot of manhwa, manga. I watch a lot of videos, but I'm not really doing anything with my time. Now, these are the problems that I've noticed as I've sat down and I've journaled, and most of them are pretty simple if you think about it. Now, the thing I've noticed about journaling is once you write things down and it's there right in front of you, it becomes really easy to sort of detach from the problem, pretend it's another person's problem, because then you become emotionally detached to whatever is happening, and then you can just like write down the answer. It's really simple. You write down the problem and you write down the solution to that problem. Of course, some problems have multiple steps, but on the face of it, pretty much everything in life is simple. It's just we complicate it with our emotions and the rest. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that though. Of course, for more complex problems, you could break up the problem and solve it piece by piece at a time, but that's something that I'm going to be talking about in another video because that's an entire process in and of itself. If you have problems, the entire point is to solve those problems, remove those problems. Definitely don't ignore those problems. They're just going to snowball and become very big problems later on in life. My solution is kind of simple because most of the things that I'm struggling with are kind of simple. Okay, for example, take my horrible sleep schedule, right? In principle, it's really simple. Just go to bed, lie down in bed, go to sleep, wake up. The waking up part slightly more difficult than the sleeping bit, I admit. But in practice, it's you know what I'm talking about. In practice though, you end up reading a manga at 8 a.m. You go onto a site 15 minutes later, do search for something that kind of caught your interest and you just want to see how historically accurate the manga is, and the next thing you know, it's 2 a.m. and you spent the last couple of hours watching videos on how the Illuminati is going to take over the world, how birds aren't real, and the New World Order is almost certain. We've all been there, it's okay. Having considered that, maybe I could just swap out my devices for a book and lie down and read the book so I could fall asleep faster. That might actually be a really good idea. It would also definitely help with my whole circadian rhythm. I think this whole not using technology in the first couple of hours when I wake up as well as the last couple of hours before I go to sleep should kind of be a priority. I think Andrew Huberman said something about it, but I'm gonna have to confirm. I've noticed that whenever I use my phone or the tab first thing in the morning, I end up feeling lazy. I go onto some manga site and I just end up binging a bunch of chapters, and then it's 8 a.m. I end up having breakfast late. I end up doing everything late, and that's generally how my morning is screwed up. So yeah, definitely stopping tech first thing in the morning should be a priority. However, what I've understood from going through my past attempts is definitely not to bite off more than I can chew. I've actually done this before. I would watch a couple of inspirational videos, decide I wanted to change my entire life and come up with an entire new schedule, and then not do it the next day and then just drop the entire thing 4 days into the routine because it was all too much and I was overstimulated. So this time what I'm going to do is start small. I'm starting with a couple of habits at a time, and I'm going to be reporting on my success on all of this maybe a month later. Extra credits. I've recently learned about this new concept called entropy, which is a way of saying that everything in the world is gonna go into disorder eventually, including governments, systems, financial systems, the economy, and my life. Which makes me kind of feel better about the entire situation, to be honest. But now this entropy is gonna happen, and that's part of the reason why they say that if you aren't moving forward, if you're just standing in place, you're actually moving backward. If you don't have a system to combat entropy, it's just going to take over your entire life. Having gone through the past 2 months without a system, I can kind of attest to the fact that not having a system is just going to make your entire life fall into chaos that much quicker. I've actually experimented in the past with various systems with varying amounts of success, and part of this particular journey is going to be me going through the past, digging out what I did, trying out what worked, what didn't, adapting it to the new system that I'm going to be coming up with. Basically, I'm going to be trying to Frankenstein a new system out of the corpses of all of the old systems that I've got lying about in my journals. So I've also decided that I'm going to need a little more information than what I have on me right now, so I've decided to go to 2 sources. I've got 2 books. One is called Getting Things Done, and the other is The Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll. I've actually read the Bullet Journal Method once before. This was after a couple of years of bullet journaling, and I did get a huge amount of information that really helped me put my practice together and streamline my system. I haven't read Getting Things Done, but I've heard that it's one of the best productivity books in the business, and that's why I'm going to be reading that as well. Apart from that, I'm gonna be looking up a bunch of productivity YouTubers on YouTube. I think that's one of the best ways you can do it. I do have a lot of content that I've studied in the past and I've made notes of. but I'm gonna have to look through that to see what is applicable. So I will give you an update in a month or so, and I'll let you know how things went. Cool? That's about it. Thank you for watching the video. Hit the like button if you liked it, leave a dislike if you didn't. Subscribe, tell your friends. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Ah! My legs! Ah!